I'm back, Yankee News, with another protest. I'm in Hopkinton, Massachusetts, and this is another Trump protest, so let's see how this one goes. And don't forget to follow me on all platforms, Yankee News, period, 1776. Thank you.
I am out here today because the current president is moving the country in exactly the direction that is the opposite to everything I believe in.
And what is it that you believe in so firm that you're against what he's doing and you think it's setting back those beliefs?
Equality, freedom, honesty, science, beauty, history. Let's see, where else shall we go with that? Health. Oh, health. Yes, health is important. Economics, I believe that health care is a right, not a privilege. Allowing people who are not of means to have a life, all of that. I'm a retired social worker. I've seen this up close. People are going to die from the big ugly bill.
So
Children are going to die. Beautiful children.
What's in the big beautiful bill that's setting back people like children or healthcare recipients?
Taking away Medicaid. There's so much that was wrong about that. It's basically reorienting the money of this country away from equality, honesty, history, science, towards Trump's priorities. He's a very, very, very sick man. And I know what I'm speaking about because I'm a retired therapist. He has a number of personality disorders, some of which causes many people to follow him.
Yeah, he said the same thing over there about personality disorders. How do you feel that in the big beautiful bill it actually sets aside funding for people who can't afford health care? It actually makes it cheaper for some elderly people accepting care, and there's also some exemptions added to it as well for elderly and people who don't have jobs.
Let's throw pennies after taking away millions.
There's billions of dollars worth of funding going to rural hospitals that people said that are being cut. So
they are being cut. I know you're from the right-wing media.
Absolutely.
I'm aware of that. Yeah. And
I'm not hiding it either. I hope you know that. Yeah.
No. And if you look at things, have you talked with anybody who lives in a rural community and maybe is pregnant and has to drive 2 hours to have their baby?
I've actually spoken to people in Kansas who are nurses in rural communities, and I've actually read bits and pieces of the Big Beautiful Bill, including the $50 billion stipend for rural hospitals because they don't receive as much funding as, let's say, a hospital in this town or a hospital in a big city. So they are receiving more.
Drop in the bucket compared to real hospital funding. What would be wonderful would be if you listened to some media other than your own.
I go across the aisle for all media outlets.
What do you listen to?
I go to CNN to listen to their ideas. I go to Fox to listen to their ideas. I go try to find in the center. I find journalists on the spot who are interviewing on the scene characters in certain areas of protest or things happening in this country. And I believe that people should actually read the bill themselves, bits and pieces of the bill, read legislation. Don't listen to these news outlets that tell you their opinion on it.
Most of Congress hasn't read all of it.
Absolutely. Most bills that get passed through Congress, they can't read all of it because it's so big. I think me and you both can agree these bills need to be smaller. They need to be more targeted to the discussion at hand so they're not being hidden and people can actually read what's in the bill, right?
I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I am very supportive of our senators, our representatives here in Massachusetts. They're doing a wonderful job.
I obviously think the exact opposite. I think they're doing a terrible job, obviously. We obviously disagree on that. For example, like Elizabeth Warren, Richard Neal, Maureen Healey.
For her.
Well, I mean,
she was running for president.
Awesome. Well,
we're probably not going to come to agreement on that.
Probably not. I think what they're doing in the state is actually very terrible for our U.S. citizens here in this country and in Massachusetts.
Unless that citizen is female or black or married to someone who doesn't have all their papers, or maybe Hispanic, or maybe even a little brown-skinned, or, maybe they're a little different.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Tolerance for people who are different?
Absolutely. I love everybody. I don't care what you look like or what you do in your bedroom or what you do at work. I love you. But I think, again, you said that's what they're standing for. I think the exact opposite. I think Elizabeth Warren, I think Maureen Healey are actually setting back people in the black community. I think they're setting back women. I think they're actually setting back these demographic
What do you
groups.
think women should be doing now?
Whatever they want, I guess. I think they should do whatever makes them happy.
And what about the men who are trying to control them?
In what circumstance?
There's all this right-wing stuff about trad wives and let's branch it out to the world. There's the Taliban. How do you feel about women's education?
Sure, I think if they want education, they can go get it. I think, what's the Taliban have to do with women in education? Other than the fact that they treat the women like crap in those countries.
It's the ugly end of misogyny, which, Trump is a convicted felon as a sex offender. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, I think that case with her, Eugene Carroll, that's her name, I think that case was an absolute sham to begin with.
I disagree.
Well,
Why are there so many of them? If he's not, why are there so many of them?
That's one. Again, I think this case was a sham. If you want to go into the details of the case, we can. It'd probably take a while, but
No.
I think, I agree. It's too much. I think that case is a sham, but all the other accusations either come out to not be true or there's no substance of evidence. Even Biden had accusations, but that doesn't mean they're true. Accusation is just an opinion, pretty much.
He's basically a moral human being. Trump is not.
You think Biden's a moral human being?
Yes.
He was also accused of sexual assault. That doesn't mean that he's a sexual assaulter.
No.
Right, and that's my point I'm trying to make. It's just because you're accused doesn't mean there's false accusations all the time, especially if you're in positions of power.
Maybe I just am fairly good at reading people, and what I see is a very sick man who does not care about others, has gotten elected this time to lead our country, and it makes me incredibly sad.
How do you feel that the majority of Americans that voted in the 2024 election voted for Donald Trump in that election?
I think they were probably ill-informed.
Do you feel that Kamala Harris, being a woman, do you think that had anything to do with her losing the election?
95%.
Yeah. Do you think it's because people don't want a woman in the White House?
I think it's because men don't want a woman in the White House, and the women who are under their thumbs may not either.
Sure. I mean, there's more women in the United States than there are men. So what do you say about the women who voted for Trump and not for Kamala Harris because they didn't like her?
I think that they ought to broaden the news outlets they listen to.
Do you think that there's no way that someone could be a woman or black or a diverse group and vote for Donald Trump and who's actually informed?
I think that they would be few and far between, and I'd have to hear their reasons because I can't think of any.
Right. So what? For example, I have a few in my head, like the First Step Act. I said to that man over there.
What that is?
Donald Trump passed the First Step Act, which released blacks, Hispanics, and many other diverse groups from jail because they had petty marijuana crimes that you wouldn't be arrested for today. So they were in jail for being
and then
wrongfully.
he pardoned all those January 6th criminals.
Yeah, and many of those people still have those crimes on the record. And I think we disagree there as well. Like another case, this would be a long one if we talked about it. I think January 6th was blown out of proportion. I think that they were guided through the Capitol building by other officers and shown a tour inside buildings and unlocking doors for them. I think that was blown out of proportion, and the mainstream media has lied about what happened that day.
Sounds like a conspiracy theory to me.
Why is that?
Because none of them have stepped up and said, I did that.
Did what?
Led people into the Capitol.
There's video footage of it.
Well, there's video footage of a lot of things, and a lot of illegal things, and a lot of dangerous and immoral things, and don't forget that people got killed.
One person died the day of January 6th on the Capitol, and it was Ashley Abbott.
There was that police officer who got smashed between the doors. Do you remember that one?
Only one other person died that day. It was a police officer, and he had a heart attack or a stroke the very next day. No one died the same day of January 6th other than that veteran Trump supporter who was shot and killed.
Well, as far as I see it, they desecrated my country.
So you disagree with any sort of rioting and something that would smear or desecrate the country?
Yes.
How do you feel about the BLM riots in 2020 that costed billions of dollars and actually people lost lives because of those riots?
I think it's sad that people who were incredibly frustrated about years of violence against their people turned to that, but it happened, and it is.
Do you condemn it?
Oh, I condemn all violence.
Would you agree that that people on the left tend to be more violent than the right when it comes to, for example, George Floyd passed away in these riots? That's what caused the riots.
He didn't pass away. He was murdered by a knee on his neck by the police.
You know, he had a lethal.
He didn't pass away.
He had a lethal amount of fentanyl in his system, and he also obviously.
Again, conspiracy theory.
That's from the coroner's report.
Well, which coroner and whose report? Again, you're listening to your right-wing people.
It's a coroner from the town that George Floyd passed away in. It was from the coroner that did the report. That's not biased.
He would not have died without that knee on his neck. That is police brutality.
You know, for one, he was saying, "I can't breathe" before he was put on the ground, and which is obviously a symptom of having lethal amount of fentanyl in your system. You basically suffocate yourself and you die.
Oh, you are so misguided. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
You said that's false, but it's an absolute fact.
You believe these people, and you believe things that are not facts are facts. They are not.
So I believe the coroner's report, but you're believing the media that tell you otherwise. I think that is indoctrination. I think you listen to the first-hand source, the actual skilled...
How about the actual video?
Have you seen the video? Because I have.
I have.
And again, like I said, he said, "I can't breathe" before he got put on the ground. And he did not get put on the ground by the police. He asked them. He said, He asked them to be put on the ground. They did not force him to the ground.
There was a knee on his neck, and it needed.
And that was actually that police department. That was a part of their enforcement. That was a part of their policy.
That's what's wrong with their policy.
Absolutely, but I believe that he died of a fentanyl overdose. Because if you have a lethal amount of fentanyl in your system, it's just about impossible for you to die.
Is that? Let me see. Okay, I've got my bag. I've got my other stuff. Thank you. Again, I'm not believing your media. You're not believing mine. I do need to go walk my dog.
Absolutely. But again, I just want to state, I'm not accusing the media, or I'm not using the media as my source. I'm using the coroner's report as my source. And you're using the media as a source. Yours is an opinion, mine is a fact.
I'm wondering what politics your coroner has. That would be interesting to know. But in any case, I need to move on.
Sure.
But
absolutely.
an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I could shake your hand, I respect the conversation. I respect open
Yes,
dialogue.
And you better not dox me or anything like that, because I know who you are and I don't trust you.
Absolutely. I'm sorry you don't trust me just for exercising my opinions, but I'm just posting this on social media. I don't dox people. So
Luckily, I'm not on social media.
Well, you will be today, or
Great.
whenever this gets posted. So.
Great.
Before you go, my last point I was trying to make was, I believe, for example, like George Floyd passed away, riots happened, Charlie Kirk was assassinated, riots weren't happening, vigils were happening. And so I think it's very prominent that people on the left are far more violent than the people on the right.
I do not believe that at all. There probably are many examples I could give, but right now I need to go walk my dog. And I know that's your belief. It's not mine.
Sure, I respect your opinions, and I hope you enjoy walking your dog today.
All right.
You have a fantastic day. Thank you as well. Excuse me, sir. I was wondering if you'd like to do an interview as to why you're here protesting today.
Oh, sure. Trump. I mean, yesterday the man said 97% of the press he gets is bad, so we ought to get rid of the press, like you, for instance. And I wanted to do a sign today that said, well, if 97% of everything you do is bad, of course you're going to get 97% bad press.
Would you agree that the press is majority kind of like talking bad about him for the most part? You know, like the mainstream media outlets.
Well, Fox gets more viewers than CNN. And what did they have? What did the guy on the morning show the other day said that we should give lethal injections to the homeless mentally ill?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can both agree the mainstream media says things that are outlandish and just not true all the time.
Mainstream media?
Yeah, Fox, ABC, Newsmax, MSNBC, CNN, they all say things.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
These are radical right-wing news people. Know that.
Violence.
So you're saying the most of the violence you've seen in the country has been right-wing?
Yeah, that's what we've seen over the last many years.
So you don't think, let's say, the BLM riots that happened, you know, Summer of Love, what happened recently with Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated, you don't think these events?
Oh, that was definitely, Charlie Kirk was definitely a violence from the left.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it was an individual.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all the congressional people have been using the word they. He acted alone, as far as we know, and they were saying that before they even knew. And we got lots of people that are lone actors that do bad things.
Sure, but look at the
And we put
Congress.
guns in everybody's hands.
Absolutely, but look what Congress just did. They tried passing, which they did pass, by the way, to acknowledge that there's division in this country and hate, and actually give recognition that Charlie Kirk was assassinated for his political beliefs. He was a martyr, and they would acknowledge him and have a day of remembrance for him. And 58 Democrats voted no on that.
Yeah. Charlie Kirk has been elevated to be a hero, a folk hero.
Absolutely.
The man was not a free speech person.
He had open dialogue like we're doing right now.
No, he would shout people down. He would overpower what they're saying. As far as what's going on here, so far you're asking me questions and listening. And we've got a right to do that in an exchange. Right. And he said lots of horrible things about people in this world.
Like what?
Oh, he played down gays, lesbians. He said bunches of things about blacks and not having the brain power to do things.
He actually said that he welcomes gay conservatives, and he actually also said he employed over 40 black Americans across the whole United States to uplift them from inner city communities where they weren't thriving and they were actually living in unfortunate circumstances.
Maybe he did some good.
Would you agree that the media doesn't, for example, what happened to Charlie Kirk, do you believe that the media has kind of twisted his agenda and twisted the way he says things? Because I hear from many people who speak about Charlie Kirk, I hear they say bits and pieces where things are cut out of speech. They don't listen to his full videos, and they hear these cut speeches that the mainstream media puts out, and then people come up with their own ideas that make him look bad.
Again, I think this man has gotten way more attention than he deserves. He's been in the news for hours every single day. He's not a hero. Maybe he did some good things that were good, some things that were bad. But look at the Melissa Horton and her husband and her dog and the other two people that, right-wing person has tried to assassinate and did assassinate. She didn't get elevated to a hero. She didn't get flags at half-mast.
Sure. So there was a congressman who's Republican who asked for a moment of silence for those people, those people in Minnesota, right? It was Minnesota. But again, you don't see people on the right who are saying they deserved it or they were bad people and they got what they deserved. But people are saying that about Charlie Kirk. So what would you say about people who are on the left or the far left who make claims that Charlie Kirk deserved to be assassinated and he got what he deserved?
I haven't seen anybody say that. It's not a good thing. The violence never solves anything. And for me, right away, it's totally a bad move.
Absolutely.
It alienates people. It makes things worse. We want to make things better. We want to bring things together.
Yeah, I agree. I respect you for saying that. And how do you feel about people losing their jobs for posting on social media and, again, saying those things? Because this is happening. I'm sure you've heard about that. People losing their jobs, including Jimmy Kimmel, who lied and said it was a MAGA guy. So what's your take on people losing their jobs for that?
I listened to that Jimmy Kimmel thing, and I thought there was absolutely no reason for him to get fired over that comment. I didn't think it was that funny, and it was like I hadn't seen anything in the media of MAGA people trying to disclaim the shooter, which was what he had said.
Yeah. That's
so
what he said.
I hadn't seen anything of it, so it was a non-issue for me. And again, he's gotten way too much attention. He doesn't deserve, the medal that Trump's going to give him, just like Rush Limbaugh didn't deserve that. Rush Limbaugh was somebody who fomented division and anger and hatred. So
what would you say to someone like myself who I'm sorry, but I respect you for having the conversation, because sometimes people will tell you what to do, and I just think that's just the wrong way to do it. We live in the most free country in the world. I think it's just really weird for someone to say, hey, don't talk to him or don't do this. But so my question is, what do you have to say about people like me and millions of people across the world, and especially the United States, who looked at Charlie Kirk as a hero? He was a hero to me. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now probably without Charlie Kirk, like I've said many times, paving the way for open dialogue. I know you said you don't think he had it, but he did at college campus. He would talk to professors and students and parents and whoever stepped up to the microphone, any demographic. So how do you feel about someone like me who calls Charlie Kirk a hero?
I think you've got a different vision of the world than I do, and you're seeing him differently than I would. It's okay. And what I say to all my left-wing friends as well is that we need to talk across the aisle.
Yeah.
We need to talk to each other, because if we don't, things aren't going to change. And it's not always easy.
Yeah. So there's a quote I heard the other day, and just tell me if you agree with this quote. When conversations stop, that's when violence happens. When a married couple stop speaking to each other, that's when divorce happens. When people stop talking to each other, that's when bad things happen. And I see nodding your head. I assume you agree with that. When people stop talking, bad things happen. That's actually a quote from Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, again, he was respected for open dialogue. Again, if you walked up to Charlie Kirk's microphone, he would speak to you without any shadow of a doubt, And I think what he did for America was, again, spread that open dialogue. And
he also helped get Trump elected.
Absolutely,
And
he
there
did.
are people, kids dying in Africa, but people are going to die of AIDS because of all the things he has trashed. What Doge did was just unbelievable. All the people that are losing their houses, their homes, because they were fired from the federal government.
And
The EPA's been gutted.
Right,
And
and
now we have a War Department instead of a Department of Defense.
that's what it was previously called.
Yeah, and we changed it for a good reason.
Right, and again, I think it's better off. Obviously, it's very sad in this world that people are dying. People across the entire universe, in this world, people are dying because they are in lesser situations, especially in Africa. But for example, under the previous administration, 250,000 children were lost through the immigration process under Biden's administration, and Donald Trump has a task force like ICE and immigration officers looking for these children. They found tens of thousands of them. So I feel like that's better.
I haven't heard. That's
Yeah.
new information for me. I'm
I
not sure
think-
I'm going to
yeah.
believe it.
Yeah.
But we do know that during the Trump's first administration, children were separated at the border from their parents, and some of them still haven't been able to find their parents.
Yeah, and that happened. That should let you know that happened under Obama's administration and Biden's second administration. And if
Obama
let's say,
deported more people than Trump did.
thank you for knowing that. A lot of people don't know that he actually did, and he actually built the cages down south as well that people are very against. But if I were to be arrested and let's say I had a child and he was in my back seat, if I was driving under the influence and I was charged with a DUI, I would be separated from my child. We would be separated, and who knows? Child Protective Services would come in and they take my kid away.
Yep.
Same thing happens if you bring your kid and crossing the border. That kid might not know the crime that they're committing, but the parent is responsible for that child, and they made that scenario happen.
But if it's a kid in your back seat, you're going to know how to know where that kid is. Nobody's going to hide that from you. You're going to be able to reunite with that kid and try to correct the situation.
Right. I mean, if they're putting their children through dangerous situations like crossing the southern border with that dangerous journey that we both know is just completely unsafe, if I was in a dangerous situation with my child, they would separate me from my kid and take him away. They do the same thing.
If you were in El Salvador facing gang violence, all the stuff that's going on in that country, I would honor your desire to come to a place to make a better place for your family.
Right. And that's what happened with Abrego Garcia, and the reason why he left El Salvador is because of a rival gang. He was a part of a gang that was, he had a threat from a rival gang, so that really isn't asylum seeking.
I've still never seen any proof that he was a gang member.
So he had, he had. It didn't say the words MS-13 on his knuckles, but it stood for abbreviations for MS-13 on his knuckles. The marijuana leaf, the skull, the 1 and the 3. His own wife or girlfriend, whoever it was at the time, they've had many domestic situations where she's actually called the police on him. But separate from that, Donald Trump, during this second administration, he's deporting families together. Like Tom Homan said, if you are here legally, you're entering legally, and you brought your children here, which is just completely unsafe and not a good parent, you're going back wherever you came from together. So they aren't separating in this second administration. I hope that you could appreciate that because you're obviously against the child separation.
Yeah. But he wasn't convicted of any crimes in a court of law. So if I take away your due process and decide that, maybe you don't belong in this country and I deport you without a court, without a lawyer, the legal system's slow. It doesn't work well, as we see.
Yeah,
Trump
these things
plays
aren't
the
unheard
system
of.
These things
aren't unheard of where people are being deported without due process. Like Obama deported without due process, according to the ACLU. Bush, the first Bush, he deported without due process. George Jr. as well. And the thing with, obviously, we both know there's checks and balances in this government here. You do something, the president makes a decision, it could be unlawful or unconstitutional, then that's when the Supreme Court steps in and says, hey, you're doing this wrong, we're going to correct you. And that's why Abrego Garcia is back in the United States. He's actually facing child and human trafficking charges right now. The court case, I believe, is a couple years from now to start, but he has to check in with ICE now, but he is going to be seeing charges coming to him within the next few years. So he is going through the process now. Again, he did have a deportation order before, but they paused it because he was under threat of a rival gang because he is a member or was a member of MS-13. So things like this happen. This is how our government works. This is how checks and balances work. So Donald Trump isn't taking away due process from me or from you or from any citizen that's in this country.
White guys.
White people get deported. Australians and Canadians have been deported as well because they are committing cyber crimes or they're here illegally as well.
Yeah. Are they convicted criminals?
So they're breaking the law. Some of them are convicted because they, again, are charged they're being charged with these crimes of cyber criminality charges, especially Australia. There's been dozens of Australians for some reason that are doing that. I think there was a Russian that was deported as well. So I think to say that they're targeting Hispanics or black people or people who aren't like me and you or white is just untrue, because the mass amounts of immigrants that I hope we can both agree, come from the southern border. They have darker skin. So let's say if the majority of people being deported happen to be Hispanic, I don't think it's just by accident or because the administration is targeting them. I think it's because the majority of them are Hispanic. So I think to make the claim that ICE or Tom Homan or Trump are targeting Hispanics because they're, quote, racist, I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I don't know.
Would you agree with that, though? The majority of immigrants, illegal immigrants here, are probably Hispanic?
Good chance.
Right, so it's like if you see most of them
We've got
deported,
people from Africa, we've got people from China
Right.
that make it across the Mexican border.
Absolutely.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, they get deported as well. I mean, so did you vote for Obama and Biden?
Yeah, I did.
Do you think you would have voted for them knowing that they had mass deportation and deported without due process?
Yes.
So why are you against it under Donald Trump?
Because Donald Trump does horrible things to the CDC, to the EPA, to everything. You know, it's not just a one-issue thing.
So you're not against his immigration policy, though?
I don't trust that man. He lies all the time. I mean, I'm still waiting for him. Remember the first time he ran? He promised us he had a health care plan.
Yeah.
It was going to be better health care, it was going to cover everybody, and it was going to be cheaper. He gets into office. What did he say? Do you remember?
Obamacare, something, right? You want to kick off Obamacare?
Oh, he wanted to get rid of Obamacare, but
Yeah.
he said he had a plan. Trump.
Yeah.
You know what he said? Gee, who knew health care was complicated? Everybody knows that.
Right.
We don't have a health care system.
Right. And I think we can both agree his first administration, he probably wasn't as prepared
And how
as
about
many
the lie
people.
this time around that, you know, that within 24 hours of getting elected, the war in Ukraine was going to end. It's now been 10 months.
Right, and I think he's tried, but I think Vladimir Zelensky has denied.
Putin's ass.
What do you mean? He
Get
said
invited here. The guy's a murderer. He throws people out of windows. He poisons people. He's murdering people in Ukraine every single day, and he shook his hand.
to find a solution, though. Don't you think we have to speak to both sides?
You do, but you don't shake their bloody hand.
I think to
And you do something. He has done nothing to restrict what Putin's doing. And even the weapons that we're providing now, he made sure that the Europeans are going to reimburse us for all those weapons.
As we
He's
should
not
be.
doing anything to help Ukraine anymore.
So
And
I
at
mean,
one point,
he's
a
sending
big-
weapons back.
And at big point, a big shipment of weapons that was supposed to go to Ukraine,
Yeah,
he sidestepped and sent it to Israel.
sure. And I think both administrations send money to Israel. But for example, the previous administration, they were tasked. Kamala Harris was tasked by the president to solve a solution for the Ukraine and Russia war. Kamala Harris went and spoke to Zelensky, and come to find out, she didn't speak to Putin. You have to speak to both sides, whether you like the guy or not. Whether he's throwing a tantrum or not, you got to speak to both people to have a solution to this war. Because if you talk to one side, you're not going to hear the other side. You're not going to get both sides coming together with something. And that's what Donald Trump's doing, but Zelensky
What
is
have
being
we-
stubborn.
What have we ever heard from Putin about the positive reasons for invading Ukraine?
Well, he obviously thinks what he's doing is okay, but when this war first started, he said to NATO that he would stop the war if they did not join NATO. Yet, the Biden administration never consulted with Putin whatsoever. But Putin consulted with NATO, but they completely ignored him. So I think that this war has been long going for a reason. I think it's because people make profit off of this, and I think it's because they don't want the war to be over. But I think Donald Trump has tried. He welcomed Zelensky to the White House. He talked to Putin in Alaska. He's
The
having...
first time he came to the White House, you saw that performance.
Absolutely.
They trashed him royally.
And Zelensky thinks he's deserving of everything he's getting, but he isn't. We have no promise made to Zelensky and Ukraine to protect them, to intervene and have U.S. intervention in that war whatsoever. All we have with them is a denuclearization deal. We have no deal made with them whatsoever that we're going to sit there and defend them. We're going to lose our lives for you guys. There's no deal made in that scenario. So why do you think America has the responsibility to take care of another country that we don't have a deal with?
It's not a responsibility. It's caring for other human beings. Donald Trump has no sense of empathy or caring. He just wants a prize on his hat. He wants the Nobel Prize for, I mean, he says now he's created peace in 7 different countries. I mean, give me a break. The man doesn't know what peace is.
Sure. I mean,
He's always promoting violence. Even the first time he ran, he was promoting, there's a demonstrator. Beat the shit out of him. I'll pay your lawyer bills. I mean, that is not a man of peace. He doesn't care. He doesn't have empathy for people. And that's not totally his fault. Some of us get brought up in a dysfunctional home and have issues, personal issues. The guy has multiple personality disorders.
Yeah.
He's not the kind of person you want to put in a spot of responsibility. And it's the sad truth. I just thought, in the first time when he ran, it's like, who the hell wants an arrogant New Yorker in front of our country? I figured nobody's going to like an arrogant New Yorker.
Right, and then he somehow won. And then again, this election, he got the popular vote. He actually had the majority of people who voted in the election for him. First time, which is actually very unheard of for Republicans, because Republicans haven't won the popular vote in a long time. So for him to win that, I think speaks volumes.
Well, I think some of it was, your friend Kirk, Charlie.
Absolutely.
He got a lot of young guys like you to vote for him.
Absolutely, and I thank God for that. I thank God for him. I thank God for
because of that. Does that make you feel good?
I think him putting America first and trying to protect Americans over the numbers.
When you say put America first, you're saying we're better and deserve more than everybody else.
No, I'm saying that we should.
You're saying.
No, I'm saying that we should take care of our own before taking care of others. Like if I had a house and I had a family, I would want to take care of what's inside my house before I take care of my neighbor or the homeless guy in the corner. Of course, I would love to see them thrive and do great for their life, but I'm going to take care of my own before I take care of others. Not that I'm not going to help anybody else. I'll donate to charity. I'll give them a hoodie or I'll give them food. That's not what Donald Trump is doing. Donald Trump isn't a American nationalist. He wants to put America first, but he's still making trade deals with other countries.
Yeah. Well, something he doesn't understand. There's a bumper sticker on my truck that says, "Everybody does better when everybody does better." If your neighbors are poor and starving and don't know where the next food comes from, they may get to a point where they're going to rob you and your family's not safe anymore.
100%, yeah.
We got to take care of everybody, and it's hard. It's not easy.
Right. I just don't feel that the previous administration has done anything to actually help Americans more than others. For example, like in this state of Massachusetts, Governor Maura Healey, which I hope loses election in 2026, is housing illegal immigrants in five-star hotels. Some of them have been found with rifles in Worcester, Massachusetts. They're giving them free foods. They're giving them free transportation, phones.
There are in this country?
Absolutely.
Everybody's got guns.
100%.
There's
An
5
illegal
shooting ranges within walking distance of my house.
That's awesome.
There's more shooting ranges in this state than there are towns.
Sure. Well, my point is this man who was caught with a rifle in Worcester, Massachusetts was an illegal and had ties to gang affiliation and had a lot of drugs on him. What I'm saying is that she's housing these people before homeless people in this country. Boston, Massachusetts has massive amounts of homeless people. So does Springfield. So does Worcester. And they give them drugs for free. They are letting these people stay in the streets and not penalize them or actually get them help. And for example, Governor Newsom in California, when the leader of China came here, he swept up all the homeless people off the street, and everyone was like, wow, that's awesome to do. And then right when China left, he put them right back out there. So they know they can house these people. They know they can get them off the streets. But these Democratic leaders aren't doing anything to actually keep them off the streets. So I believe that putting America first is actually not forgetting about everyone else.
I think you're simplifying a really complex problem.
I don't think it's forgetting about everyone else, but actually picking up from what we've lost all these years.
Lost a lot.
Unfortunately, even with the wars, there's a lot of homeless veterans that never got paid, or they didn't know what to do when they came back, and they have mental health issues, and the country's not doing anything for them. And Donald Trump signed an executive order. Donald Trump signed an executive order to actually get homeless people off the streets, get them psychiatric help, and if they don't want the help or job or free housing, they're going to get imprisoned.
To all the time on Fox News in the morning. You heard what he said this last week. Yeah. You know, we should give them lethal injections.
And I don't agree with that. Some people have stupid opinions.
Yeah, pretty stupid.
But do you, like Donald Trump's executive order cleaning up the homeless off the streets, would you agree with that? Because it's not only like what Gavin Newsom did, cleaning them off the streets temporarily, but actually trying to rehabilitate them back into society with a working job and actually getting psychiatric help.
Yeah.
Really appreciate your interview. This is great political discussion.
What's your name again?
Nathan Remillard. You can find me on Yankee News, period 70-76. I know you're not on Facebook or I assume you're not on social media, but I thank you for your interview very much, and this is what we need in this country is open political discussion.
Yes. All right.
Thank you. So I just finished up the Trump protest in Hopkinton, Massachusetts. As you can see, I had very good discussions with people, very good open dialogue, which is what I strive to do when I come out here. Had some topics like Charlie Kirk. We had some topics like the big, beautiful bill and what Trump is doing in his administration. Some people here obviously very still upset with the government for what they're doing. That's why they're out here today. I obviously disagree with what they're doing. That's why I'm here to disprove and to actually try to educate some of them with the facts that they've been lied to with the media. And like I said before, you can follow me on all platforms, Yankee News, period, 1776. And I hope you guys can stick around for more videos like this one. Thank you.